Hey everyone! Welcome back to my channel. I'm so excited that you're joining me for my March bullet journal setup. For this month, I decided to go with the galaxy theme in my bullet journal, and I really want to give a special shout out to Thesni Asu for giving me this amazing bullet journal theme idea. So when it comes to the cover page for my March bullet journal setup, I wanted to remain relatively minimal when it comes to my designs, but really focus on having the colors pop and speak for themselves. So for this cover page, I'm going to be using this gold watercolor that I got from the brand Coliro, and I really love all of the paints that I have from Coliro. I just find that they're so beautifully pigmented, they reflect the light really nicely, and so they look super shiny in your bullet journal. And so even though I don't have a lot of fancy designs in my cover page, I still think that it really pops out really nicely just because of this awesome pigmented paint that I'm using. As I mentioned, I wanted the colors to be the star of the theme, and so I'm gonna keep my doodles relatively minimal. For this cover page, I decided to just go with a doodle of a moon with some little clouds and stars, and this cover page is actually inspired by a mood tracker from the Instagram account Journal with Caro, and I'm gonna link her account and any other accounts that I mentioned in the description down below. I really love her Instagram page. I think that all of her spreads are just so cute and adorable, so definitely check her out if you also want more bullet journal ideas and inspiration as well. And to add even more emphasis on this beautiful shiny golden moon, I'm also going to take my Sakura Pigma Micron pen to just outline the moon once I'm done painting it in. And because I want the outline to remain relatively subtle to give the doodle more of a softer feel, I'm going to be using the Sakura Pigma Micron pen in the size 01 that isn't too thick or too bold. Next, I'm going to be using my Archer & Olive acrylograph pens in the color indigo that is from the Jewel set, and I'm going to use this color to just doodle the little clouds that's surrounding the moon. And the reason why I decided to go with this indigo color is that it's actually a complementary color to an orange, yellow, gold. And so complementary colors just means that they're on opposite sides of the color wheel, which means that when they're paired together, they contrast against each other really nicely, and so that's why I decided to go with this color combination for this theme. So if ever you're feeling stuck when it comes to choosing a color for your bullet journal and you want to add a really nice contrast, try to think about complementary colors and see if it fits the theme that you're going for. Now for the star details, I'm actually going to be using this adorable stamp, and it's actually from the Suki bullet journal tracking stamp set from Notebook Therapy. Now I think this stamp set is absolutely adorable, and it's definitely one of my favorite stamp sets when it comes to bullet journaling. They're so versatile and I get so much use out of them. One of my favorite stamps from this set is the calendar. I just find that it saves me so much time whenever I'm creating my spreads, and if you're interested in getting these stamps for yourself, you can also use my affiliate code JWNadia to get a 10% discount on your order. It is an affiliate code, so I do get a little bit of commission when you use my code, but it's at no extra cost to you, and it by no means affects my reviews or recommendations whatsoever. I've always been obsessed with Notebook Therapy, and in fact I got the stamp set long before I was even an affiliate for them, so it's actually a dream come true that I was able to partner with them and give you guys this amazing discount for all of your purchases as well. So thank you guys so much for supporting my content. Even you just watching my YouTube video already means a lot to me. Now for the quote page next to the cover page, I'm gonna take that same indigo acrylograph pen and color the whole page of my bullet journal. So the reason why I wanted to go with this design for my quote page is that I really wanted to contrast the cover page that is next to it. Because the cover page is relatively minimal when it comes to the doodles and has a lot of white space, I wanted my quote page to have a lot of color in contrast. And so that's why I decided to go in and color this whole page with this tiny paint pen, which took me a lot longer than I would like to admit. And of course, if you want to get the same effect in your bullet journal with just a quarter of the effort, you can always just glue in a colored paper into your bullet journal. But because I really wanted to have this specific shade of blue, I had to sacrifice my time and my hands to color the whole page by hand with this tiny pen. And it ended up being a really relaxing time for me because I usually just have YouTube on the side when whenever I'm preparing my bullet journal spreads. So let me know in the comments down below what you like to do whenever you're creating your bullet journals. And if you're someone like me that likes to watch something on the side, let me know what type of content you also like to watch as well. Lately, I've been watching a lot of minimalism lifestyle content, and so I'm really curious to know what type of shows or YouTube channels that you guys like to watch as well. And once I finally colored the whole page with this indigo acrylic graph pen, I'm actually gonna go back with my Coliro gold paint and just paint a couple of details of the moon and some little stars as well. And it was actually a little bit hard for me to paint some of the finer details because this paintbrush that I'm using is actually an old paintbrush that I had since high school, and the ends are a little bit frayed, and so it's really hard for me to get some really small details in. But anyways, I just wanted to work with what I had instead of going out and buying a new paintbrush. Another thing that I decided to do for this quote page was also take a bigger paintbrush and also just flick the end of the brush to really give this splattered paint effect for this page. And I really think that it gives the illusion of having a million tiny stars in the background, so I'm really happy with how this turned out. And for the quote itself, I decided to go with the phrase, "If the path before you is clear, then you're probably on someone else's." And this is a quote from Joseph Campbell. And this is a quote that hasn't left my mind since the day I came across it. And when I first read it, I just found it oddly reassuring because I just feel that there has been so many times in my life where I just felt super unclear with the path that I was pursuing. But I just really find that this quote was a great reminder that my path is gonna be unique to me, and everyone really has their own unique path. So if ever you're feeling doubtful or your path seems unclear to you right now, just trust the process because you're most likely creating a brand new path that is completely unique to you. So the next page that I'm gonna create is going to be the monthly memories page, which is definitely a must-have when it comes to my bullet journal setups. This is a page idea that I originally saw from the Instagram account Monday Morning Design, and ever since I created it in my bullet journal, I've been absolutely obsessed and I've been including it in all of my monthly setups. And so it's actually really simple to create. What you want to do is just create a little square for each day of the month. And so for the month of March, I decided to divide the two pages into 31 squares. And if you watch my bullet journal setup for the month of February, you might have seen me try this layout, but each square was exactly the same size. However, I realized that I didn't have as much fun filling it out when each square was the same size. I realized that I had a lot more fun when I had the different rectangle sizes. I got really excited whenever it was a big rectangle and I was able to be more creative in those squares. And so I decided to go back into this layout where each rectangle has a different shape and size. One of my favorite things about the bullet journal community is just seeing how much we can take inspiration from each other and still add our own personality and our own style into every spread. And I just find it so interesting because sometimes you guys tag me in a spread where you took some inspiration from my spread, but then your recreation actually gives me more inspiration for my own spreads. And I really want to give a shout out to Study to Seize and its Alexic for elevating this monthly memory spread even more. I'm actually so obsessed with how you guys did your monthly memories page, and this ended up being something that I saved in my own inspirations folder, and it's something that I actually want to try out for my future spreads as well. So thank you guys for tagging me in your recreations and giving me more inspirations for my own bullet journal too. And to make this monthly memories page match the rest of my galaxy theme, I decided to add some of that galaxy detail into the edges of the paper. And I really wanted to create this jagged look with the blue color, and I really wanted to give the impression as if there was a ripped galaxy paper that was glued onto this bullet journal. And so I'm not gonna try to create any perfect straight lines whatsoever. I really want to be kind of random in the blue shape that I'm coloring. And when it comes to adding the golden star details, I also wanted to add some dotted lines to give the impression of a constellation as well. Another way that you can play around with the golden star details is to also vary the sizes of the stars. So you can make some small dotted ones or even make some bigger star shapes as well. And so I'm just gonna repeat this on the other side of the page to give it more of a symmetrical look. Another must-have spread in my bullet journal this year is also my meditation tracker. So it was actually my New Year's resolution to be more consistent with meditating, and it was also this circle tracker that finally helped me stay more consistent with adding this new habit into my life. And the thing that really helped me the most about this circle tracker is that I really didn't want to miss coloring a single section in the circle tracker. And I know that might sound like such a shallow reason, but having this visual tracker really did help to motivate me. And even though in the beginning there were certain days where I purely meditated just so I can color in my tracker, it was enough motivation for me to get into the habit of meditating, and over time I relied less and less in having this color tracker as a motivation. And I also find it really amazing that some of you guys are also trying out this circle meditation tracker in your own bullet journal. I have here Ashley's bullet journal page from the Instagram account Maritime Bujo. She also has an amazing YouTube channel as well, so definitely check out her bullet journal spreads as well. And overall, I just really hope that these bullet journal ideas can really help you to build the habits and build the life that you really want for yourself. I think another thing that really helped me stay consistent with my meditation practice is also finding the right meditation for me. So in the beginning of the year, it was a little bit wonky because I was experimenting with a lot of different meditation techniques, but recently in the month of February, I found a guided meditation that I absolutely loved. So it's a meditation technique called EFT tapping. EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Technique, and basically it's kind of a guided meditation where you also focus on tapping certain areas of your body. And I think that the reason this worked really well for me is that I'm someone that is so used to multitasking, so just sitting down and sitting still to try to meditate was really hard for me. And I really found that this physical act of focusing on tapping on certain areas of my body was really helpful because my body didn't feel so restless and irritated, and I was able to move my body in a certain way that doesn't require a lot of focus but was enough for me to stay focused in the meditation. And if you're curious to try that for yourself, I'll also link the guided meditation video that I watched in the description down below. It's actually a YouTube video, so it's really accessible for anyone. You don't need to go and download or pay for any meditation apps. I know there are a lot of great ones out there, but I find that this is just so great and accessible because it's free and it's on YouTube. And the meditation that I'm currently following right now really focuses on the limiting belief that you're not enough. And overall, I just really found her message to be really healing, because one of the things that she talks about is how we don't have to be so hard on ourselves, to work so hard to prove ourselves to other people. Now, that's definitely something that I always did. I was always so hard on myself, feeling like I need to work even harder to prove myself and prove my worth. So just hearing that message over and over again before I go to bed has been really healing for me and has been so helpful. So if you've ever struggled with feeling like you're not enough, I highly recommend giving this message a try and see if it resonates with you as well. The next page that I'm gonna create for my March bullet journal setup is going to be my finance tracker. So finance is another area of my life that I really want to focus on for this year, and I really noticed that in the past couple of years I really got into this habit of shopping a lot, and it's something that I really want to be mindful of this year and really want to reduce my consumption habits. So my family is a first generation of immigrants, and I remember when we first came to Canada, we didn't have a lot of disposable income for us to really spend on any extra things that was outside of our necessities. And ever since I was a little kid, I was always obsessed with pretty things. So whether it's beautiful interior design, beautiful fashion, or even just stationery, I was obsessed with it all. But it was something that was really outside of my reach because I didn't have the money to be able to buy these things for myself. But I remember when I started working and I started to make my own money, I was finally able to have the money to buy a lot of the things that was out of my reach before. So especially when it comes to clothing, before when I was a kid, I always had to go shopping in thrift stores or shop at the sales section. But when I started to make my own money, I was finally able to buy clothes that was outside of the sales rack and outside of the thrift stores. And there's nothing wrong with shopping in thrift stores or buying from the sales section whatsoever, but it just really opened up a new realm of possibilities for me, and I was really excited to finally buy the clothes that I've always wanted. But however, now it kind kind of got to a point where I feel like I'm kind of over consuming clothes, and I know that this is something that a lot of people also refer to as lifestyle creep, which is that when you tend to make more money, your expenses and the things that you buy also go up as well. And so this is something that I really want to be more mindful of in my life and just not feel like I need to keep buying so many things and practice gratitude for the things that I already have. So for my finance tracker this month, I'm gonna be focusing on 3 different categories. The first category is going to be a color dedicated to the days where I don't spend any money at all. The second category is gonna be dedicated to food because that's one of the biggest things that I spend my money on. And then the last category is going to be dedicated for spending money towards clothes. Now, I actually ended up adding another category at the end outside of filming, and that's gonna be another category for any other expenses that is not related to food or clothes whatsoever. Thank you guys so much for watching my March bullet journal setup, and let me know in the comments down below what theme you decided to go for your March bullet journal. If ever you decide to recreate any of my pages, definitely feel free to tag me on Instagram so I can share your pages as well. And if you really enjoyed this galaxy theme, I also did a similar theme in the month of December where I challenged myself to only use one colored pen, so definitely check out that video next if you want more bullet journal ideas and inspiration.